Fall to your knees, motherfucker, cause the devil gonna make you pay. Motherfucker is on his way.
Hey everybody, welcome back after a long delay to another episode of the Tattoo Knowledge Base. As always, I am your host, Keith. I thought today we might address a subject that's come up several times in response to an earlier video, specifically the So You Want to Be a Tattoo Apprentice video. The purpose of this channel so far has been strictly education. So the tone of this particular video is going to be a little bit different because frankly this is a subject that kind of sends me into rant mode. So forgive me if I come across a little aggressive. But again, this is a subject I feel extremely passionate about. So why don't we start with examining the actual history of tattooing, how ancient it is, and what a hallowed and venerable art form it truly is. Think about the oldest recorded example of tattooing that we have in the world, Otzi the Iceman. Otzi's tattoos are 5,500 years old. Otzi's tattoos all correspond with acupressure points. This means that this tattooing that Otzi has wasn't just thought up. We can infer that it is at least 1,000 years older than Otzi, likely significantly further back than that. This means that tattooing from its very inception has not been a casual, cool, flippant, hobby thing to do. It is very, very sacred. It is very, very important. It matters in a way that you just obviously don't get if you think that you can do this without committing enough to it to obtain them yourself. Another point that I find very interesting about the type of people that think you don't have to be tattooed in order to tattoo is that they generally seem to come from a younger generation that somewhat feels as though they're entitled to anything they want, which includes tattooing without being tattooed. Well, just because you were given gold stars and ribbons and participation trophies for the majority of your life does not automatically mean you deserve all the rewards of tattooing without feeling enough passionate about it to have your own tattoos yourself. And to that end, I say, yes, yes, I know. Okay, Grandpa, as I yell at you fucking kids to get off my lawn. Now, aside from my own personal opinions about the sacred, hallowed nature of tattooing and how important it is to commit fully to it, there's a few other more practical aspects of this to consider as well. The most important of which is you need to be on every level as a tattoo artist the expert, the unassailable master of every possible element to the tattoo. You cannot do this if you don't have any tattoos. How is it possible that any given client could ever trust anything you have to say about tattooing if you don't have them? So for example, what tattoo hurts the most? I don't know, somebody told me the ribs are kind of painful. How would you possibly know? How should I heal this new tattoo? Somebody told me you could put this sticky stuff on it. How do you know? How can you possibly answer questions effectively if you've never experienced them yourself, if you've never gone through the processes yourself, if you've never tested every aspect of tattooing? You need to be tattooed in order to do this. It's just common sense. The long and short of it is, in order to properly control every aspect of a given tattoo, you have to be the master. You have to be the educated expert on every level, which means you need to be able to say definitively, I know what tattoo hurts the most because I've experienced it myself. You need to be able to say, I can tell you the best method for aftercare and healing because I've done it myself. And if as an artist you cannot do these things, then a given client is going to find that weakness, they're going to exploit it, and they're going to ruin the experience because their lack of experience mixed with your lack of experience is going to create a perfect storm of the blind leading the blind. Look at it this way. Would you trust taking your vehicle to an automotive mechanic who didn't have a license or a vehicle? They just skateboarded only? How would they know properly how to fix your vehicle? Would you trust a chef who didn't eat? An anorexic chef? Not going to work so well. If you're a musician and you want to play a show, are you going to trust a deaf sound engineer? Of course not. There are certain aspects of any given career path where the person you are going to and placing your trust in them, that person needs to know what they're talking about. In the case of tattoo, an artist who has no tattoos doesn't know what they're talking about. Now, some of the feedback that I received from people in the original video of being an apprentice tried coming up with various different ways to figure out where I might be wrong. One person said, well, what about people who have skin conditions that prevent them from being tattooed? Well, I'm telling you right now, that's fucking bullshit. There are no skin conditions that would prevent you from being tattooed. There are no medical conditions that would prevent you from being tattooed. Eczema doesn't count. Psoriasis doesn't count. The only medical conditions that would prevent you from being tattooed are the ones that are so severe they're going to prevent you from tattooing at all. There are no excuses. I've had plenty of people come in and try to work for me with no tattoos, and their litany of excuses make even less sense. One guy even told me that the reason he had no tattoos was because when he started tattooing, he was too young to legally obtain a tattoo. This is a guy with 8 years experience. First off, if you can tattoo, you can get a tattoo. Who cares about legality? And second off, that was 8 years ago. You're certainly old enough now, so what's your excuse? The truth is, the kind of people who get into this that want to tattoo without obtaining any tattoos themselves are people who really only want to exploit tattooing as a career path. They don't really care about tattoo. They don't really care about the culture, the history, the importance of it. What they want is a way to pay their bills for their real art. We're talking about fine artists and mural artists, oil painters, people whose own art doesn't have a viable financial background, but tattooing sure makes the big bucks, according to the TV shows. So they think, fine, I'll just get into tattooing. How hard can it be? Make a few bucks, then I can be my real artist when it matters. Well, as I stated in the other video, my art is not your fucking paycheck. If you're going to do this, believe in it, commit to it, make it part of your life, because it is a lifelong thing. Tattooing is not temporary, it's not a hobby. It's like taking the Night's Watch black. You are fucking committed for life. So to sum up, no, you cannot be a tattoo artist without tattoos. And if you try to be a tattoo artist without tattoos, you will never develop respect from anybody else in this business. You will always be nothing more than a fucking hack. In the end, you cannot be a tattoo artist with no tattoos. If you attempt to be a tattoo artist without tattoos, you will never ever gain the respect of your peers. You have to commit fully, and that means believing enough in what you're doing to have it yourself. So just get tattooed, it's not that hard.
Motherfucker is